Shalom, Nasharala. This is Brother Eliyahu back with another video. I ain't dropping a cool little minute, but the Spirit hopped on me to make this video. And today I will be touching on dealing with different demons, right? Whether that demon be lust, whether that demon be a specific drug or a specific type of feeling you get, anger, wrath, envy, right? Sadness, depression, anxiety, whatever the case may be. And I'm just going to be touching on different precepts dealing with battling these actual demons, right? Because we know that, the world tells us that certain feelings that we may get on a physical level, right, it all stems from the so-called neurological system, right? And you being addicted to a specific thing, right, that's different, connections going on in your damn frontal cortex and all these different, right, huge, big terms, man. But, ultimately, all this goes back to spirits and demons, right? We know that the Most High, He is the one that is in charge of all these different demons and spirits, and they all appear before the Most High, right? So let me get that in the book of Job, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse number 6, right? So, now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them, right? So the sons of the Most High is not literally talking about literal sons, like, you feel me? So you got the sons of men, right, which be these other nations. The Israelites, they would be considered sons of the Most High, but the Israelites don't appear to the Most High in the third heaven, you feel me, right before his throne, and are commanded to what to do. So that's how we know that these sons, they're also referring to what? Angels, right? Gods, man. And demons as well, right? So it says the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them. So we know that Satan will be considered the son of the Most High. It's like, I wouldn't say son, but Satan, right? He was among those sons, right? And it says, verse 7, and the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it. So Satan, the spiritual demon, of course, we know that he's not some big red man, right, in the damn secret hideout somewhere in Hollywood, man. We know that Satan is a spirit, man, right? And, with that being said, we know that there's also a spiritual realm, especially according to the scriptures, man. But let me get the fact that Satan is actually a spirit in the book of Ephesians. I'm going to get chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse number, let's see, Saga 2. Ephesians 2 and 2. Wherein in time past he walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, right? And that prince of the power of the air, you got the prince of peace, man, which is Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and the prince of the power of the air, which is the spiritual demon Satan, right? And that's just of course it doesn't literally say Satan verbatim, but through knowledge and understanding, we would understand that that's what that's going to. How we do that? How do we know that? Well, next the verse or next line. The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, and the disobedience means those who disobey. The children of disobedience will be the commandment breakers, right? So we know that the angels or the right hand side spirits of the Most High don't dwell in those who keep His commandments. It's like who don't keep His commandments, right? So if the angels and the spirit of life, right, doesn't dwell in those who don't keep His commandments, who would dwell in that? What would dwell in that? The spiritual demon Satan, right? And his legions of demons, right? So that's how we know that's going into them, right? So we know that Satan works through the spirit, hopping on different individuals. And to prove that, let me get this in the book of Matthew, right? I'm going to go to chapter, let's see, through the spirit, chapter 17, and I'm going to start at verse number, let's say 15, right? Slakia, 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to them, or Slakia, to him, a certain man, right? So we got a multitude of people, and they're appearing before the Lord, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on me, or Slakia, on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire, and oftentimes into the water, right? So, a lunatic, man, meaning he's crazy, right? And the reason why, right, they appeared before the Most High's son, right, and to tell him about what's going on was so that they could cast the demon out of him, right? And we're going to see that later on, reading on, right, Salakia. But also, right, this lunatic, he would play in the fire, man, and in the water, right? Nobody in their right man is going to play with something that is capable of killing them. Verse 15, and it brought him to the disciples, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, right? So you see that right there. So he rebuked the devil. Was this a literal damn devil with a pitchfork, red God who casts people down to hell? No, right? Hell doesn't exist, right? This devil is going into demons. Verse 18, reading on. And he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. So we see that Yahushua Mashiach, he casted the demon out, right? And he departed from this man, man, right? And, Yahushua is the word, man, the word of the Lord. He's a living word of the Most High. So with that being said, he casted it out with this, the power that the Most High gave to him to be able to cast this specific demon out. Because this wasn't just any ordinary demon. This was a very strong demon in which the disciples couldn't cast out themselves. And we see that going on to the next verses. Verse 19, then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast them out? So that disciples, they're curious, like, you gave us the power to heal, why we were enlightened, we were changed and renewed by the Holy Spirit. Why can't we cast these demons out when you said you would give us the power to do so? Reading on, verse 19, then the kid was like 20, verse 20, Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be possible unto you. Verse 21, howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So the reason why these disciples couldn't cast out a specific demon was because there are specific demons which only can be casted out by prayer and fasting, right? That's exactly what was the case. And Yahushua Mashiach, being the son of Yahweh, right, he was granted the ability to cast out a demon that only goes out by prayer and fasting, and that's exactly what he did. And also, Yahushua was amongst the apostles and prophets and the disciples, right? They didn't have to fast, right, because he was with them, and Yahushua is the living word of the Most High Yahweh, right? And so he has the ability to cleanse them and purify them and keep them away from these different demons, right? But Yahushua also told them that when he departs and when he goes away, that they will no longer have him to be there for them, right, to help them cast these demons out, right, and that they're actually going to have to fast for themselves, right? So we understand that Yahushua is a living word, and that there's certain demons based off of what we just read that only can depart out of a man, right, via what? Fasting, man, right, and prayer combined, right? And how do you fast according to the scriptures, right? Because that's another way in which you can cast out demons, right? I'm gonna get this in the book of Isaiah, right? How do you fast according to the precepts, right? Let's get this lock here. Isaiah chapter 58, and I'm gonna start right at verse number 3. Wherefore have we fasted, say thou, and thou seest not. Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge. So when you fast, right, the Most High, he sees it, and when you afflict your soul, right, that's considered a fast, right? Because a fast it doesn't feel good to the flesh. It hurts, right? You're in pain, right? You're starving. Well, I'm gonna say starving, Salaki, but you're lusting after food, water, all these different things in order to please the flesh, right? But that's the whole point of it, right? Because when you fast, the Most High intended it to not be a desirable feeling, right? It says, and thou takest no knowledge, behold, in the day of your fast, ye find pleasure and exact all your labors, right? So you got certain people that, when they fast, right, they indulge in the house of mirth and pleasure, meaning in order to cause them to forget or to make them feel better about them fasting, what they would just do all manner of things that would make them feel good. But that's not the point of a fast. You're just ruining the whole purpose if you just fast and you're just happy. You're not supposed to fast to be happy. When you're fasting, you're supposed to be in a state of humbleness, meekness, lowliness, right, and pleading for to the Most High, uh, regarding your soul and to cleanse you and to remove certain demons from you, right, and to strengthen you, man. right? You're not supposed to be in a house of pleasure or, put off from your working, right? You may have certain things you got to do, right? You can't just, say, oh, I'm fasting today. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just sit in my house all day in my bed and lay down. Nah, that's ruining the whole purpose. You got to live out your day like you would on a normal day. It says, verse 4, behold, ye fast for strife and debate. So this is what you fast for strife and debate and to smite with the fist of wickedness. And that's the whole point right there. When you fast, you're standing in the spirit. And by you standing in the spirit, you're actually increasing your strength by fasting in the spirit to be able to actually fight against these demons. You're fighting against these demons when you're on a fast, right? Which is why your flesh is feeling, all manner of hurt. And, of course, we can't see the spirit physically. We have faith and we believe that these demons are being alleviated from off of us because of fast that strengthens you. Even science will tell you that, so-called, right? So it says, behold, ye fast for strife and debate and to smite with the fist of wickedness, man. That's what we do, right? So you fast to fight with this fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day to make your waist to be heard on high. Is it such a fast that I have chosen a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast, an acceptable day to the Most High? Is not that the fast I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness, right? So this is what the purpose of a fast is, to loose sin, the bands of wickedness, meaning evil, to undo the heavy burdens. Because when we're committing lewd acts in the sight of the Most High, wicked acts, unrighteous acts, is because, right, we're bound in chains of evil, right? And in order to be free from those chains, right, of fasting, the fast would have to be declared, right? And by you declaring that fast, you would be fighting against these different evils and demons, right? And that's loosening you from the bands of wickedness. You feel me? And that's the scripture gives us the understanding of that. Reading on, right? To undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke. Is it not to do thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out of thy house? And when thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, that thou hide not thyself from thy own flesh, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy house shall spring forth speedily. So we fast, and your light, meaning your righteousness, is going to bring forth in the morning, man. And it says, and your house shall spring forth speedily, man. And thy righteousness shall go before thee, the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward, man. So that's what's going to happen, man. Right? You're going to see, right, the word that you put in, the labor you put in, right, and you're going to reap what you sow, man, right? You sow into the spirit, you're going to reap life everlasting. And that's pursuant to the book of Galatians chapter 6 and verse number 7, right? Because you declining these bodily needs, man, you're strengthening your spirit, right? And I'll get that in Galatians chapter 5 verse 15 on down right after this precept. So this is Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For whatever a man put in, that's what he's going to get, right? And you can put things to the flesh, and you can put things into the spirit. We put into the flesh, right? You're not going to get nothing but destruction and eternal damnation. But when you put into the spirit, you get all the life, man, everlasting, man. You can receive salvation. You get the kingdom, man, if you do all these different things. You endure, of course, right? Because you can't lose the fight against the flesh, against Satan. Else you'll be overcome with evil, and ultimately, you'll be put to death. You'll be destroyed. Verse 8, for he that soweth to his flesh, right, shall of the flesh reap corruption. So there's no good thing in this flesh that we're in these corruptible bodies, man. If you pleasing it, right, you're going to, it's going to lead you to corruption, right? And we understand that through the precepts, right? Because all you're doing is racking up sin by you doing all these different evil works, which are against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? It says, but he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting, because you're resisting the pleasures of the flesh, or to please the Most High, or to please the spirit, right? Sacrificing your body, sacrificing, right, the different desires of the flesh and the wants thereof, in order to please the Most High and to strengthen your spirit, which in turn will allow you to defeat and to put up a fight against these different demons and not be overtaken with evil, but overcoming evil with good, right? Let me get this in Galatians chapter 5, verse 15 too, right? What is the spirit and what's the flesh, and how do they work against one another, right? It says, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So you walking in the spirit is you doing the things of the spirit, right? And it's going to touch on that later on in this text. Verse 17, for the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. So we see that they're not the same thing. They're actual opposites, right? The Most High made everything two and two. You got good and evil, right? You got night and day, the sun and the moon, and the flesh and the spirit. You know what I'm saying, right? And they're the opposites from one another. And these are contrary to one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would, man. So you won't be able to do the things that you want to do. Right? That's the whole point. That's the whole test. That's the whole way, the reason the Most High made the things the way that they are. You feel me? Because everything has a purpose. Right? It says, but if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Right? Of sin and death. Right? You understand that by pursuing to the book, if I'm not mistaken, of Romans chapter 6 on down. Right? But reading on. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, right? So these are the things which take place in your flesh, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, simulations, rash, seditions, heresies, amazement, drunkenness, revelings, and such like those I told you before. As I've also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. If you don't know what those things are, you can further look those things up on your Google. I'm not going to go too deep into those for time's sake, right? Because I'm on my break or whatnot. But just Google search, man, if you don't know what those mean. Right? Every drunkenness, revelling, sounds like what I said before. Is I've also told you in time past that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. That's a big deal, man. So if you partake in any of those things, man, scriptures plainly tell you that you're not going to inherit the kingdom of the Most High, because no wickedness is going to be therein. It's going to be perfect kingdom, man, with righteousness being held to the highest standard, man. Right? And no evil and wickedness is going to be allowed to enter those gates, man, at all. Else it's going to be a problem, right? But the fruit of the spirit, right? So now this is the things of the spirit, man. Love, meaning keeping the law, statutes, commandments. So we understand that 1 John chapter 5 and 3 says what? For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? Joy, man, being of an upright mind. Peace, right? The long suffering, meaning you bear along with whatever you put through, man. Gentleness, goodness, faith, right? That's an ultimate one right there. Believing, man, trusting. Meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law, right? Temperance meaning what? Self-control, right? That's another thing, man. By you fasting, you having self-control. By you not lusting, you having self-control. By you not giving your flesh over to these different things which are against the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, you have self-control, right? Reading on. I guess there is no longer did Hermashiach said, crucify the flesh with your flesh and lust. So we're Hermashiach, man, we're going to kill the flesh, not literally, meaning, you damn take a knife and just cut yourself up. No. I'm talking about, just on a carnal level, you're not giving yourself over to the desires and the wants of the flesh, realizing that there's no